sure. So obviously your first National League loss on the weekend, Dean. What lessons do you think you can learn from the defeat to Dagenham Redbridge to take forward this season?
I think I learned a lot about the team, the character of the team. We were always in the game throughout the whole 94 and a half minutes, and we created two glorious chances with the last kick of the game, basically. We never managed to take them, and I suppose that was the difference on the day. I think I said that in the post-match interviews after that. I felt that the difference in the game was probably Balanta. He was the one that took his chance. I think they had 3 chances in the game, and we had 3 chances in the game. So it was a tight game. I was proud of the character we showed, the togetherness we showed, and we kept going. We stayed in the game, which is very important. And we just got to make sure we're on the right end of the results, and it's us winning 1-0.
Yeah, you managed to create a lot of chances in the first game against Yeovil, maybe not so much against Dagenham. Can you kind of put your finger on why that was, or was it just the quality of the level kind of showing itself?
No, 2 different teams playing 2 different formations. Yeovil played tight diamond, left our fullbacks exposed, which helped us with our pace. And Dagenham played 4 up front. They tried to press us from everything. We didn't overload the midfield, and it's a tight pitch, Dagenham, a really tight pitch. So we couldn't really get it wide as well as we would have liked. And we couldn't get it to the overload of midfield as much as we would have liked. So full credit to Maka. Tactically, he did well within that game. But like I say, it was a tight game. And we're not going to create loads of chances every game. And that's definitely not going to happen tomorrow night against, for me, the strongest side in the division.
Yeah, you mentioned Angelo Balanta there on the weekend. Is for your players to come up against a player of his quality and that level, is that kind of a good opportunity, I guess, for them to kind of see that how, the quality that are at some of the teams at this level?
I think everyone knows the quality at the level. Dagenham are ambitious. They ain't messing about. They're full time. The same as Stockport tomorrow. Their aim is to get promoted, both of them sides. So we're playing against good players, but we have good players too. So we just got to make sure we're consistent at the level. And look, we know it. I said at the start, I did a fans forum earlier in the season. I said we can't get 2 down when we get beat. That's very important. We're in tonight. So I contacted the lads, the senior players on Saturday night, and I said, what about coming in on Monday night? And the players are making the sacrifice. They don't get paid to come in on Monday night. They're paid for Tuesday, Thursday training, you know what I mean? So they're making that sacrifice. That's how committed their players are. So, we have to come in on a Monday night when we're playing clubs like Stockport, because they've trained today. They've worked on us. They've got video analysis. They've got reports on us. So we have to make sure we do the same to them, to the best of our ability.
Yeah, obviously you had a fairly active summer in terms of recruitment. 2 of your signings, Charlie Wakefield and Kundai Ben, you've thrown straight into the side for the 2 games. How have you sort of assessed their performances so far?
I think they've done all right. Obviously, you can see Chaz's attributes. He's very dynamic, very quick. He's an out-and-out winger. He's a bit of a throwback, to be honest. He likes to get on the outside. And Kundai's just finding his way. Both of them have come off in both games. It's just because of the load. They haven't had full pre-seasons. And they're both good players. Some days they'll affect the game more than others, but that's every player's like that at every level. So they've done okay. There's definitely more to come from both players.
Yeah, Connor Stevens obviously on the bench on Saturday. How's he doing? Are you hoping that he can make it back for Tuesday? And if so, what kind of difference will he have?
Yeah, well, no, he come in and had treatment yesterday with our medical team, so we'll know more about him today, see if he's going to be fit for Tuesday, and then we'll make a decision on selection tomorrow evening. So, he's one of our main centre halves. We do need him back. We need everybody fit. The load has been heavy. The games have been tough. Away at Dagenham, away at Yeovil. So we'll look what we'll do with selection tomorrow. I think this is where I have to get things right if we decide to rotate or we decide to stick with a similar team. That's
does that give you a bit more flexibility as well? Because obviously Michael Phillips has had to drop back into centre back when obviously I suppose his natural position is more in front of the back four. Obviously that gives you more options in midfield then as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think he's a top midfield player, Michael. And Connor's a top centre half for us. They're both very strong players. When they fit last season, they played every game. So we need as many options as possible. And I've got to make sure I get the selection, substitutions and all that correct within the game plan. Tomorrow's going to be totally different though. Tomorrow we're going up against a side. I've watched them. I think they're a fantastic side. I think so far they look like the strongest team in the division. It's very early days, but they've got a lot of experience, got a lot of quality. And like I say, they ain't messing about either. They're looking to get promoted and back into the Football League.
Yeah, I mean, you just touched on it there, but how difficult is the task obviously going to be, especially with such a quick turnaround after playing a strong team in Dagenham on the weekend, and then obviously, like you said, being part-time, going up against a full-time team with just a couple of days to prepare?
Yeah, this will be our toughest test in management. This is the toughest game we've had by a mile. These are very, very good sides. And they were very convincing against Dover. Halifax played pretty well against them, a lot of pace against them and hurt them at times. But, you know, they managed to beat Halifax. And I thought they played really well down in Torquay, and what beat was sort of a deflection late in injury time. And Gary's team walked their socks off in that game and managed to come out on top. Realistically, I thought Stockport were the strongest side on the performance. But look, they're going to ask a lot of questions of us defensively. They're going to ask a lot of questions of us tactically. So we're going to have to make sure we have the answers for them. We're looking forward to it. These are the challenges we want as a management team. And the challenges definitely the players want. So we're really looking forward to the game. And we'll see how we get on.
Obviously, no fans at the Vale still, but I mean, will it be at least good for you and obviously the teams to be back playing league football at home on a familiar territory?
Yeah, it's our first home game, which we're looking forward to. The players and myself are looking forward to, but we miss our supporters. You know, coming out of that gateway, coming out of our tunnel, you know, it's not the greatest stadium, let's be honest, especially for this level. You know, we've got to make it a fortress. There's a hill on our pitch. We've got to take advantage of that. We are going to miss our supporters, though, majorly. But look, it is what it is at the minute. No doubt they'll be all cheering us on at home on the sofas. And we want to give them something to cheer about. I think it's important we take something from the game. You know, it's very important we take something from the game because it is going to be a very tough game. We've had a nightmare start, really. The fixtures have been ruthless to us. Yeah,
another one of your new signings, Jake Askew. I mean, I don't think you've named a goalkeeper on the bench yet, have you? Stop me if I'm wrong there. But do you expect to get him involved soon? And do you think is it obviously with only 5 substitutes makes it difficult? But do you want to name obviously a goalkeeper on the bench, or would you rather have those options outfield?
I want to name a goalie on the bench, but I think there should be 7 subs at this level. I don't know why there isn't. It's ridiculous. 7 subs in the level above. We should be following that, the EFL lead. So, now I just make that choice. It gives us more options to make different substitutions. I like to have attacking players on the bench. I'd have a midfielder, a defender on the bench. So, you know, we'll try to cover every base. Ideally, you'd have a goalkeeper on the bench, but I've made the decision not to do that.
Yeah, just finally for me, obviously the EFL transfer window, obviously deadline is approaching. You obviously got some good core of young, talented players. Are you confident you can keep hold of them, and how much interest have you had, if any, leading up to that deadline?
We've had no inquiries from any of our players, so I can't wait for this deadline to be out of the way, because then we can go into the loan market and we can add a bit of strength and quality from Cat 1 Premier League clubs that we've lined up loans for. If they don't get league loans, it filters down to us. So I think every manager, you know, of clubs like ourselves will be looking to do the exact same thing. Everyone wants to strengthen, so, and we do need to strengthen a little bit, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Have you got those sort of arranged already? But obviously, I suppose if they get an offer from league football, it kind of changes things, doesn't it? But I mean, they sort of agreed if they can't find another club. Is that sort of how it works?
Look, you can agree stuff in principle with football friends and stuff like that, and people you know in the game. I've been in it a long time, so I know a lot of people. And we're in a great location. We've got a lot of league clubs around us, Premier League clubs, Championship clubs around us. So we go to most of their 23 games. So yeah, there is some lined up, there's some earmarked we've inquired about, but until Friday ends, we won't know. So realistically, next Monday, we'll know if we can get a few players in on loan or not.
Great, thanks, Dean.
No sweat.
Thanks for that, Dan. Jacob, have you got some questions for Dean?
Yeah, go for it. So obviously, just touching on to Dan's last question there, Dean, I suppose saying you probably still need to strengthen. What sort of positions are you potentially sort of looking at, or just sort of all over the park at the moment?
I think we just need to upgrade our squad. You know, when you go up the level, you need to upgrade. And I know players just think about themselves. They just want to play, but I have to think about the team. It's very important that everything we do is about the team. You know, we've been involved in 2 tight games. All right, we should have come away with a victory at the Oval, but it was a tight enough game, and we've only managed to have 1 point. You know, so we have to make sure if we get the upgrades, that bit more quality, especially full-time players, probably a tiny bit sharper, even though I think our fitness levels have been quite good in both games. We've had 2 great chances in the last minute of both games where we should have taken, and that would have given us more points, basically. We'd be on 4 points now rather than 1. So, yeah, we just need to bring in better players, upgrades. That's how we work. You can't stand still in this business, and if you do, you just won't have success.
And obviously, in terms of tomorrow evening's game against Stockport, I know you've sort of harped on it, saying how good you think Stockport are, and they're sort of one of the better teams in the division. They sort of done a lot of business this summer as well, and I suppose that shows their sort of ambition.
Yeah, they're looking to win the division. They're not looking to get in the playoffs. They're looking to get probably 90 to 100 points to win the division. They're a very good side. They've got a lot of players, a lot of ex-league players. Got a lot of nous. They manage the referee really well. And I think that's very important, that the referee is strong within this game. We don't want to have the big club syndrome. They really, really get on top of the referee. They manage the game. They've got good experience, experienced manager. And he's recruited really well. So it's going to be a very, very tough game. We're probably at two different ends of the spectrum in the sense of where both clubs want to go or where they want to be. We just got to make sure we're competitive. We've got to make sure that every time they get the ball, we're in their face. And we've got to make sure that we expose their weaknesses, because every team has a weakness. Man City has weaknesses. Man United have weaknesses. So Stockport County are going to have a weakness, the same as Wealdstone are going to have a weakness. So we've got to make sure we try to expose their weaknesses and we nullify their strengths.
Mm-hmm. And obviously a few games under your belt now with no crowd. How are you sort of finding and adapting to that, and how are the players coping with that?
It's rubbish, to be honest. We need the supporters back in. It's absolutely rubbish. It's we want their supporters. We would have had 500 at Dagenham the other day. We would probably had 400 or 500 down at Yeovil. We would probably had 2,500, 3,000 in at this game tomorrow night. So we just want to get back to some kind of normality. Understand the way life is at the minute. It's crazy what we're living in. But we miss their supporters. They were a massive part of what we achieved last year, and they'll be a massive part of what we'll hopefully achieve this year, eventually when they come back into the grounds. And we've got passionate and loyal supporters that they deserve to be in the stadium, in an open air stadium. So that's my opinion on it. It's we miss them. We miss them badly.
And I know you've sort of touched on it a few times when I spoke to you about the Val being a bit of a fortress. I suppose, I don't know what you think about it, but it seems like the home advantage has gone sort of across football at the moment, and sort of results are being thrown up here, there and everywhere because of that, it seems.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. You come out of our ground, the away changing rooms, they're rubbish. They're tiny at our football club. It's not a league stadium. It's an old-fashioned non-league stadium. You come out of that. Basically, you come out of barbed wire gates and you have to walk onto the pitch, and all their supporters congregate around there and they get on top of the opposition. Hostile start for anybody. So we are going to miss that. Our supporters, they're very vocal. They sing loud, they sing proud, and we're going to miss that. Players need that boost. So probably all you'll hear is my voice shouting from the side now. So but look, we missed them, and the sooner the better it gets back to some kind of normality. We let some supporters in. I think it'd be the better for football in general, the better for everybody.
And obviously, first team coach Saunders sort of departed this week. Is there plans to replace him? Or
no, it's just Matty, fantastic coach. He'll stay with the youth team. Great guy. Financially, we just can't afford to pay him. There's no lying. We financially, we're not in a great position. It's as simple as that. That's because we don't have any supporters. We've no revenue coming into the bar. We've got a social club at our football club that we can't manage to maximise. So it's very, very hard, very difficult. So the money's got to go towards players and nobody else. I'm not full time. Stuart's not full time. We have businesses and jobs away from football, and it's a tough decision. It falls on my lap to make that decision. Obviously, with the advice of the board. Look, listen, I thank Matty for everything he's done. It's not nice to make them phone calls and have them conversations. It's a really frustrating thing to do, but that's my job, I'm afraid. So I've got to do what's best for the team. And at the minute, that's sort of the best thing we can do for the team. We need money for the players.
Perfect. That's brilliant from me. Thanks, Dean.
Thank you, Jacob. Just one from me, Dean. Did everyone get through the Dagenham game all right? And is everyone available for tomorrow? Or is there any injuries?
Yeah, everyone's reported into GA that they're okay. There's a few lads in with GA right now as we speak, down at Optima, down in Hanger Lane. So they're all down there now. 2 or 3 of the lads are down there getting the treatment. We're in tonight. So in tonight we'll train at 7:30. We'll do some video analysis and we will do some patterns of play and on how we can try to penetrate our game plan to stop Stockport doing what they do.